I'm Louis Allen, aka The Rhino. Most people know me as The Rhino or Louis Rhino. Online coach, bodybuilder. Now can say super heavyweight bodybuilder, now can say class 1 bodybuilder. I'm someone who is a bodybuilder through and through as far as the day-to-day. I live it and breathe it, I love it. From every single meal, from every single training session to everything, like that's me. From a coaching perspective, I coach everyone from lifestyle clients to competitive athletes, from someone that's just stepped in the gym like 10 minutes ago to someone that's been in the gym 10 years. And I pride myself on being able to coach everyone from every ability, and being able to communicate and work with everyone from every ability. But for me, from my background, where do I come from? Mum brought me up on her own, amazing woman, taught me every life lesson possible. I come from a professional sports background first of all, so I grew up in Southampton my whole life, got into basketball young, progressed through the ranks of basketball in the UK, got a scholarship to Gran Canaria Basketball Academy in Spain, was there for 2 years, then got a scholarship to play basketball in America, New York for 3 years, Ohio for a year, Tennessee for a year, then came home, then played here for Worthing Thunder professionally for 3 years, and then after that fell in love with bodybuilding, found bodybuilding through like personal training and stuff like that, being in the gym, coming home, being in the gym through basketball and stuff like that, found bodybuilding, and that's me, like someone who loves the sport for the routine, the consistency, and the ability to progress it gives you. Not just the look. Yes, I love progressing my physique. Yes, I love being strong. 2 things I absolutely love, but more than that, it gives me mental clarity, it gives me consistency, and it gives me a lifestyle that I love. So for me, it's never a chore, whether I'm in off-season or in prep. Yeah, of course, it's hard in the back end of a diet or the top end, back end of a growing phase, but I always remember what it gives me. It gives me that consistency and that balance and that kind of settled life that I feel like I'll always need. So there's never been a time where I wanted to quit. It's more so feeling like I wasn't good enough. So I love bodybuilding. So it's never been about wanting to quit or like wanting to give up. That's never entered my mind. It's like I just have in the past felt like I wasn't good enough. Almost like instead of feeling like what's the point, it's just more so feeling like I wasn't good enough and I'd never be good enough. So I've never ever wanted to quit, and I won't ever quit. Like my mantra is I just won't quit. I'll just keep knocking on the door. And something that I always tell myself is a quote, it was about 6 years ago, right? I said it to someone in the gym, and someone said like, you just keep showing up. And my response back was, I'll be here. And that's all I think about. So that's what I say, like, I'll be here, I'll be here, I'll be here. So I've never wanted to quit, but definitely the feeling that entered of like not being good enough. From a coaching perspective, I pour everything into that, and it came more naturally in the form of success than my bodybuilding first. So like from a perspective of bodybuilding, I'm not genetically gifted. It's taken a long time to get size. It's taken a long time to even be competitive. So, and I still haven't won yet. So the business has been really, really, really like doing well for a long time, and I'm blessed with that. I'm blessed to be a part of that, and I'm grateful for that. But that's never really been the struggle. It's more so been the struggle from a bodybuilding perspective of I've always progressed because of how hard I work and how diligent I am and how committed I am, but just the perspective of not feeling good enough. Everyone knows I've told this story before. Come from a background, it was a struggle growing up. We had nothing. We had no money. At times my mum went without food, went hungry. It was a struggle growing up. My mum worked 3 jobs just in order for us to survive. I guess this is where I grew up. Well, I don't guess this is where I grew up, Shirley Warren. So I was born here, raised here for like 8 years before we moved. Not the most affluent of areas, shall we say. Not the most like, not the best of places to grow up, don't get me wrong, but this kind of like was what molded me growing up in a place like this. And for anyone that knows me, it was just me and my mum growing up. Very kind of tough start as far as what my mum had to go through in order for us to like survive, in order for us to live, and the things she had to do in order for us to survive and live as well. So this is kind of, I guess, what molded me, what made me, what kind of embedded my ethics, my work ethic, my diligence, my ability to keep going, the never give up kind of attitude. This is it. Like, nothing special, just kind of what molded me in the place I grew up. So it's it's quite humbling. I don't often come back. I don't live too far away from here now, but I don't often come back. So to come back and kind of walk through here and kind of just reminisce where it all started is pretty cool, especially like after my first show of the year as well. Like to come back and kind of reminisce just where things got started is pretty mad, yeah. So you can literally see it through there. That's where I lived. That's where I grew up. So yeah, that's where it all started, man. Dad was never around, so it was kind of a tough upbringing. My mum always looked after me, always cared for me, always taught me, incredible life lessons, and also like shielded me from the struggle as well. So it's only later on in life did I really realise the true extent of how hard it was. And then just, growing up was tough from that perspective, but she always provided for me, she always was there for me, she always, loved and cared and shielded me from the struggle. So, and then as I got older, as she, progressed in her job and began to build a successful life for us, we began to be in a much more comfortable position. So I think I was 8 years old when we moved here. And obviously anyone knows the backstory knows how hard my mum and grandma worked for us to get out of there and move here into a much nicer area so that I could go to a nicer school. And just essentially, like, the struggle was still very real at that point, but they threw everything into that so that we could be in a much nicer situation, and like be able to come outside and play, be able to like, just kind of experience like much more of like a, not the term middle class, but much more of a nicer place to live, really. And that was I think a big change, but because of the roots of where I grew up and the habits that I built and the what I'd seen and what I was able to, like, from a positive perspective, take from that, I was able to carry that over, and I think it paid over massively. So from a perspective of like the quality of life massively changed, and that's why I always say I give so much to my mum and grandma for being able to put me in a position to be able to like live a much more nicer quality of life, which I'm forever in debt for. So it kind of really changed then, and this is where I grew up the whole way until I left to go to Spain, 18 years old. So that's when I moved to Gran Canaria to play in Spain for basketball in Spain for 2 years, and then come back here. And then 6 months later, moved to America for 5 years. So it's been here until I then came home from America. I moved back in here, and then that's when I then moved into my own apartment. I guess my childhood was real, but very safe, was very loved, and I was very much cared for. And my mum was an incredible woman, an incredible human, and still my best friend. But I learned valuable life lessons from it not being easy, from a perspective of not having any money, barely having food at times. So from that perspective, it was an amazing time to learn lessons that I was able to carry forth into adulthood, The term the Rhino, so it was actually when Spartans was at the old gym, the previous owner, a lady called Stacey, was on the leg press, and she asked me to jump on the leg press so she could press it with me on it. And as I got off like mad ungraceful, obviously, as I always am, walking like 2 miles an hour. And she was like, "Fuck me, you move like a rhino." And then it just kind of clicked. And I was at the time building my coaching business, and I didn't want to call it like Louis Allen Coaching, or do you know what I mean, or Louis Allen Personal Training. I was like, why not call it the Rhino Coaching, or like the Rhino Personal Training? And it just grew from there. And then I changed my Instagram to that, and it just stuck. And that's it, very simple, just stuck. I think it was always to play basketball. I never looked past that. I think whatever I've done in life, I've always been all in. My mum's always taught me, and again, another lesson from mum, be all in. So if you're going to say you're going to do something, you're doing it, like all in. Don't just be half in, half out. So it was always basketball. Couldn't look past that. Never looked past that. Couldn't look beyond that. So it was always basketball. It was always get to Spain, get to America, come home, get to play for someone professionally. It was always basketball. And then when it kind of faded and I topped out on my abilities, my ability to be able to get any further just because of how good I was, it was kind of like, from a mental perspective, I was very lost. So for me, that's when my mental health went into quite a big decline, and that's when I started to really struggle and question what I was doing and what I should be doing. And at that point, that's when I found bodybuilding, and that's why I'd always be thankful for it, because I found something that puts you straight into routine. These are your meals. This is what you need to train. This is when you need to train. This is how many steps you need to do. This is your cardio. So I was kind of like straight away, it gave me like it was kind of like a safety blanket straight away, just cuddled me in and was like, shielded me from like, and took away all of that like anxiety, that depression, and that dark place that I could feel myself very close to entering. It just like wiped that away. So it was amazing. So inspirations outside of bodybuilding, inspirations just will always be my mum. Like that's just number one. That will always be my inspiration outside of bodybuilding. Just the way she carries herself, the way she has carried herself, the way she looks up to it, like the way like how I look up to her and how she inspires me. It will always be outside of bodybuilding. It will always be my mum. Won't be anyone ever any different. But inside of bodybuilding, like it's definitely the taller, like bodybuilders, because obviously how hard it is to grow when you're taller. So definitely inspirations like that, like people like Nate Styles, massive inspiration, Josh Malley, Jamie Jahal, huge inspirations. Even the lads that I was on stage with this weekend, massive inspirations because of how long they've been in class one and how good they've been. Hugely inspiring. My first coach, Ryan Mackins, like a tall class one bodybuilder, my original like inspiration into bodybuilding, you know. Previous coaches like Jimmy, you know, I've got to give those guys, they were inspirations, which is why I went to them in you know, to get coached by them. So from an inspirational standpoint, it's always the taller kind of bodybuilders that you're always drawn to because of how hard it is to like get to that type of level when you're tall. You know, I'm not saying it's easier when you're short, I'm just saying the struggle when you're tall. So inside of bodybuilding, that from you know, and then you can look from a business perspective, you know, guys like Christian, you know, have driven their coaching business built up from the ground up. Always a massive inspiration, and how fantastic is he coaches me currently, how fantastic of a coach he is. So someone like that. So Jack from the ground up with Conte, that's always a massive inspiration for me. I always tend to draw on inspiration from people that I know. Like I don't personally know Jamie, or I know Josh, but I'm pretty close. I'm pretty good friends with Nate Styles. I'm good friends with Jimmy. Good friend, obviously really close with Ryan. So like I tend to draw, and obviously Jack as well. Jack's like family. So I tend to draw on inspiration from like people close to me because obviously I know them a bit more in depth, so I can draw on that as well. And obviously the room as well. Like anyone that doesn't know the staff room, so like Pete, Tim, Ryan, Rambleby, like always draw on inspiration from my close friends as well, because again, I know them in depth, so I'm able to draw on inspiration from them rather than just seeing like the glamour of Instagram, you know. So that's a list of people close to me that I'm inspired by. I'm probably forgetting people as well, and I apologize if I have, but definitely those ring true to me at this current point where I'm at in prep and stuff like that. It's definitely that for sure. It's very hard to quantify, like, I don't know, it's just better this time. It's just better this time. I don't know why. I don't know why I managed to put on so much size in 8 months. I don't know. It's very hard to quantify. We pushed up, we were aggressive with food in the off season. You know, from a quantifiable perspective, I think probably just honestly less stress, like less drugs, less cardio, less steps, less training volume, more food. And I guess, honestly, like I've spoken about on Instagram a lot, is my ability to not be in my own head and not stress. Every single year, I've got so into my own head in the back end of prep, not because I find it hard, I don't find it hard. And that's not me being like Superman or something, I just don't find it hard. I think like, it's just getting in my own head about, oh, I'm not going to win, or this person's better than me, and I just almost just psyched myself out to the point where it created so much stress, just ruined my physique, just ruined it. And I think like, put so much expectation on myself. And this year, moving up a class, in the class I've always wanted to be in, I guess I never had any pressure because I was like, well, I've got to start in this class now, right? I've got to see where I fall now. So on the weekend, being able to solidify myself as a super heavy, and stand in the class and not be small, not be out-muscled. Like, let's just drop this. I've just not had any pressure this entire prep. It's just been fun. And I look back now, I don't even feel like I'm on prep. I'm like 20 weeks deep, one show deep, a few more to go, and I don't even feel like I've had a day on prep. Like, there's obviously been moments. There's never been a day that's been hard. There's been moments. So a moment of hunger, a moment of tiredness, a moment of like when maybe anxiety or stress rises a little bit, but you can catch it and cull it dead. So it's just less moments of stress, this prep, and barely even felt like it is. People say, like, I'm reminded that I'm on prep, you know? So I think, honestly, the biggest difference has just been eradicating any negativity, any negative talk from the outside, any element of that, and stress has been the biggest factor. I can guarantee it. So the goal for this prep was to solidify myself as a class 1 bodybuilder, to stand up there and solidify myself and feel like I belonged. So that's already been ticked off this weekend. If a win comes out of this season, amazing. That was not the goal, and people might think that's defeatist. It's not. It's called being realistic. So that goal's been achieved. See what happens for the rest of prep. And the goal is to then be able to get the data from this prep, get the look from this prep, and then go away into an off season and improve. And then it's to win. Like, next year the goal will be to win, to take shows, to take overalls, to win. That will be the goal. But I'm again realistic. It's never going to be something that's going to come quick. This is going to be a long-term thing, you know. So yeah, I think that's a very, very simple goals. And that leads me back to the other question, what's been different? Setting very simple goals, nothing outlandish, just very simple. Feel like you belong, feel like you fit the class, feel like you establish yourself in that class. That's the goal. That's it. No other goal, no other this, no other that, whatever comes as a bonus. So yeah, sounds corny, but happiness, mental health in a good place, happy with my physique, training, flying, but it just looks like happiness to me. Like, and I know that a win or two is going to make me happy. I know that having a successful coaching business that does well is going to make me happy. And I know that making myself financially stable forever is going to make me happy. But happiness and mental health in a fantastic spot that's what, to me, the end goal looks like. Like, being a part of Conte Sports means everything, genuinely. Like, I've been here since day one. I think the first one in currently. And it means everything to me. It's something I'm so proud about. It's not just a supplement company to me, like, it's being part of a family. Like, me and Jack always joke all the time about, like, 1972, like, being there from the beginning, you know? So it means everything to me, genuinely. The brand means everything, being part of the family. Yeah, when you ask what it means, to me, it means everything. I'm fiercely loyal, I'm fiercely defensive over the brand, because it's a place of safety, a place where you belong, and it's like, it's family to me. So I just try to go above and beyond, because that's what you do, right? That's what you do for your family. So to me, it means everything. When people ask me, like, what my motivation is, or like, it's very simple. Like the quote I touched on earlier, like, I tell myself, and my quote is, I'll be here. So no matter if I was to lose time and time again, no matter if I was to have a failed prep or not a successful prep or whatever, time and time again, I'll be here. Keep showing up, keep showing up, keep showing up. So you can talk about all the motivational quotes you want, but the fact is, I'll be here. So yeah, protect your circle, keep your circle small, protect your energy, avoid negative energy, don't get caught up in it, keep your circle small, keep your friends close, make sure they are your friends. And the biggest thing that I hold myself to with my friends is that if you're my friend, if I feel like I could walk into a room and you're talking about me and it's positive, then you're my friend. If I feel like I could potentially walk into that room and you could be potentially bitching about me behind my back, not knowing I'm there, then I can't count you as a friend. So for me, the mantra's got to be, keep your circle small, protect your circle, and protect your energy is my biggest advice, especially from people like entering into the industry, all the noise and all that stuff from social media. Just protect your energy. And when you're successful, there's going to come hate off the back of it, probably more. The more successful you are, the more hate's going to come, so just protect your energy. I think it's a cool, like, mantra maybe for the entire series. Like, again, very grateful to be like the second one of the series. I think, like, I want to know everyone's motivation. Like, what do they tell themselves daily? Because I think we all tell ourselves something daily, right? Whether we're conscious of it or not. So my question, I guess, to everyone that's about to get filmed in the documentary is, like, when I tell myself I'll be here, is like my mantra. Like, what is your mantra?